Hello, my name is Dawn Wilson, and I will be presenting my evaluation of the educational website Code Academy. And I'm going to be talking about what is Code Academy and giving you a brief tutorial of some of the features. I'm also going to be showing you the evaluation form I selected from Kathy Schrock's website and talk a little bit about the pros and cons of that form. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the lessons I learned from completing this evaluation in screencast. I'll also apply Clark and Mayer's principles, and finally I'll explain how I created this screencast. Let me show you a little bit about how Codecademy works. I'm going to click into their website, codecademy.com. I went in and I just decided I'm going to learn HTML and CSS to be able to develop websites. So I like how it gives you some of the intro with vocab, then it gives you a practice activity. But it also has this community forum section. So if you get totally confused, you can go to the forum, which is really nice. It's kind of a question answer session. Once you finish through this series of steps in each lesson, you'll come back to the overall lesson menu and it'll show you completion. So you can see how far you have to go in the different elements until you complete a different skill set. I went to Kathy Schrock's website where she has some evaluation forms to evaluate the effectiveness of different websites. The one I found most relevant to Codecademy was the iPad content app survey. Even though it's not an app, I found that the questions and evaluation that it was asking most related to the interactive features of Codecademy. I want to talk about some of the things I liked about this evaluation form. What I did is I went through after I completed the form and highlighted some of the pros or things that I liked about the form. But just to talk through, what I liked overall was that it was a really simple evaluation of giving me some of the content and components that are required and a checkbox of yes or no. So did those things exist on the website? I really liked how it asked some of the questions related to user friendliness. Can students launch and navigate? Reporting, is there an assessment or summary tool available to the student? And then, are the instructions available? I like these types of questions related to an interactive site or even an app. I also liked how it went into Bloom's taxonomy. I think being able to evaluate the levels of critical thinking and getting to the highest level of creating is important for an interactive website. The parts of the form that I highlighted in relation to what I didn't like about the evaluation form. What I found difficult with this form was that it wasn't specific to online educational tutorials. I would like to have found an evaluation form specific to the process of going through the actual tutorial and developing content using some of those learned skills. Some of the lessons that I learned from completing this evaluation in screencast is that I learned a lot about the critical components of what's required of an interactive app or website. I also learned how to evaluate resources based on using Bloom's taxonomy and Clark and Mayer's principles that I will talk about next. And finally, I was able to use some instructional design skills to develop this storyboard and screencast. The first principle that I feel like the Codecademy website followed was contiguity. So they want to make sure that the printed text is next to the graphic that it's describing, that feedback appears on the same screen as the question and response, and that directions appear on the same screen and which steps are to be applied. So if you looked at that Codecademy website, but all of the descriptive text and instructions is right next to the graphic or practice. And then you could see the results of what you're coding. The Codecademy website represents Clark and Mayer's segmenting principle. Based on that principle, material should be presented in manageable segments controlled by the learner. If you're looking at the different lessons and sections, You can even go down to the menu of each lesson and you could see that they've broken up the content into smaller, more manageable topics. So each lesson is broken down, and then under each lesson, they have shorter segments. And the third principle that I feel like the Code Academy website displays is coherence. Coherence principle states that it will avoid adding any material that does not support the instructional goal. Everything again relates to the instruction. So all of the text on the left relates to the instruction as well as the practice section and the display. I used the tool or website screencast-o-matic. The reason I selected this to do my screencast with is because it's free, it's easy to use, and it allows you to save all of your video clips on your account that you create on the website. So if I look into the website, here's screencast-o-matic, and you can see that I've created an account. And all I have to do is start recording, and it will record my screen and save all of my video clips within my account. That concludes my evaluation on Code Academy. If you have any questions, please let me know. My email is wilsond@gwu.edu. And these are the references that I used in this screencast.